Oh, there's someone lying on the ground.
Look at how scary that is. Put the torch on. He's even one on the ladders.
Gary and Amica, a father-daughter duo from Scotland, usually produced cheerful travel videos about exploring Europe in their camper van. But in March of 2023, their channel took a chilling detour. During a visit to Tentsmere Forest in North Fife, Scotland, Amica told her father she could hear voices among the trees. As they searched, their flashlights revealed a nightmarish sight.
We just stopped and had a look in these woods. Look at how scary that is. Put the torch on. He's even one on the ladders.
Oh, there's someone lying on the ground. Without
Falling
any
over. Look at the one on the ladders going up the tree.
Oh, yeah, that's creepy.
What about the washing line over there to the left? Yeah, there. Keep it there. That is weird, isn't it?
There's one over there that isn't actually a person. There's a doggy there.
Even more disturbing were bizarre paintings nailed to trees and hanging outside a small cabin hidden in the woods. Other YouTubers have stumbled across this place, but no one knows for sure who set it up or why. Whoever created this forest nightmare clearly intended to frighten anyone who dared wander too close. As Gary and Amica tried to leave, headlights suddenly appeared, creeping down the forest path toward them. Gary tensed, half expecting the worst, but thankfully they reached their van safely and avoided whatever might have been waiting in that car. To this day, no one has solved the mystery of the Mannequin Forest. In April of 2019, a YouTuber named Jason shared a video on his channel, Appy Mountain Trekkers. In it, he documented his lone overnight journey into the mountains, a channel usually dedicated to hiking, camping, and braving the wilderness alone. At first, Jason's hike seemed routine, the forest peaceful as he climbed higher. When he reached his chosen campsite, he set up his tent, gathered firewood, and began preparing for the night as the last orange glow of sunset bled away. While waiting for darkness to fall, he tried his hand at carving a spoon. That's when he heard a sound drifting down from one of the mountain ridges, a noise so out of place it made him freeze. He brushed it off, muttering it must be a bird or a small animal rustling through the brush, and carried on setting up camp. By around 9 p.m, Jason switched off his camera and crawled into his tent, trying to sleep. But less than an hour later, he bolted awake, heart hammering, to a sound unlike anything he'd ever heard, a deep, wet, guttural cry echoing through the trees.
I'm still rattled. I've never heard anything like that in my life. It sounded like a mix between almost like a pig, some kind of, I hate to even say it, but a pig, an ape, and the calls almost sounded like how the velociraptors communicate with each other on Jurassic Park. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
Still rattled but unable to pinpoint what it was, he tried desperately to drift off again. But sometime around 1 a.m, another sound tore him from his uneasy sleep, the distinct impression of something circling his campsite.
Whatever it is, it's close. You hear that? Whatever it is, it sounded like there was 2 or 3 of them, and it started on the other side of my camp, went around my perimeter.
As his flashlight sweeps across the darkness in the bottom left corner of the video frame, 2 glowing pinpoints of light catch the camera. A pair of eyes, maybe 2 sets, glinting white and cold in the night. Predators like wolves or coyotes are known for their eyes reflecting like fiery lanterns. Dogs can reflect similar light, but at 1 a.m, deep in a mountain wilderness, the odds of a stray dog being out there were slim. Coyote and wolf attacks on humans are rare, but if there were pups nearby, Jason might have been in very real danger. Strangely, he seems completely unaware of the eyes tracking his every move as he scans the forest. Luckily, Jason survived the night. When daylight came, he filmed an update for his viewers, but never once mentioned the eyes that his camera captured, leaving viewers to wonder if he even knew he'd been watched. No further updates ever came about the incident. In 2021, Another YouTuber named Matt Field decided to spend a night inside a pitch-black cave in the middle of nowhere in Australia. He'd heard chilling tales from a friend who'd once explored the same cavern and dared Matt to stay there alone. Unlike many casual hiking channels, Matt's videos often take him to brutal, isolated places, surviving off nothing but the animals he hunts and the fish he catches. In the video, Matt admits he hadn't even brought water, hoping to find a natural source within the cave. 4 hours into the journey, he finally reaches the cave entrance and climbs down a man-made ladder into total darkness. As he crawls through narrow tunnels, searching for deeper chambers, he begins to hear pebbles shifting and soft thuds echoing from near the entrance. Soon after, faint footsteps shuffle across the stone. "It feels like something is watching," Matt whispers, his voice shaking. Things spiral into pure dread around 11 p.m. as Matt tries to eat his dinner, a simple can of baked beans.
That is beautiful. Baked beans in a haunted cave. Oh my God. That was the sound. That is the sound. Did you hear that? Look at my arms. I got full goosebumps. It's the chains moving when I climb down the ladder. It's a big, heavy, thick chain. Wind can't move that. Holy.
And the night wasn't windy. The massive metal chain shouldn't have been swinging unless someone or something was down there moving it.
That chain moved just then. It is 100% now. I heard it before. I'm 100% certain it's the chain that I walked in, that you climbed down into this cave on. It's moving. Now, you can't move that chain with wind. It's way too heavy. There is no wind coming in here. There's no wind even forecast. Holy. Oh my God. Look. You must have heard that just then. Look at my arms, dude. Oh, this is fucked. Okay. Well, I've got my backpack back on and I'm booting on out of here. I just heard a sound. It's not normal. It's definitely not a normal sound and I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours after I checked in with you guys, so it would be around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and that sound was not normal. I'm getting out of here.
But after a couple of hours, he chooses to stay near the cave entrance instead. Around 1 or 2 a.m., he begins to hear faint hissing, a hissing that eerily mimics human voices. He searches the entire cave, but finds no animals, no people, nothing that could explain the whispers. The scariest possibility is that someone might have been secretly living inside the cave, hidden in the shadow. Whatever the truth, Matt escaped at first light and has never returned. Meanwhile, the YouTube channel Roy normally shares videos about life off the grid, living from a truck and roaming through nature. The footage is usually peaceful and serene. But in December 2017, Roe uploaded something far darker, a moment of raw fear. He'd been car camping in a dimly lit parking lot when around 1:30 a.m., a hooded stranger began circling his truck. The man took photos of Roe's license plates, unaware that Roy was filming the entire encounter from the darkness inside his truck camper. For several tense minutes, the stranger skulked around, peering in windows and shining a flashlight into the shadows. When he tried to look into the side windows, Roe finally slammed his fist against the inside of the truck, startling the intruder into running away. No one knows what the hooded man was planning, but given his suspicious behavior, it might have been something much worse than just curiosity. Fortunately, Roy left the parking lot and spent the rest of the night somewhere safer. In 2018, a Canadian YouTuber named John, who runs the Lost Lakes channel, captured a moment that would terrify any solo camper. He was deep in the wilderness west of Chippewa, Ontario, where cell signals don't reach, when he awoke around 3:30 a.m. to the unmistakable sound of heavy footsteps pacing around his tent.
Well, I am living every solo camper's nightmare right now. There appears to be an animal of some kind pacing around my tent. It's the middle of the night. And then around 3:30, I started to hear this pacing sound. And 45 minutes later, it's still pacing around out there.
Given that John was camping in bear territory, it's entirely possible a bear or another large animal was stalking him in the darkness. While bear attacks are rare, they're not unheard of. And other animals like moose or big cats can be just as dangerous if provoked. In situations like that, a thin layer of nylon is no defense against a creature weighing hundreds of pounds. Some argue it's humans who pose the bigger danger to lone campers, but in this case, the footsteps John recorded didn't sound human at all. To steady his nerves, John filmed himself showing his viewers the tools he'd brought for protection: bear spray, a hatchet, and an air horn. Near the end of the video, he admits his car is just outside the tent, but he can't find his keys and fears he may have left them inside the vehicle. Thankfully, John survived the night unharmed, though he never discovered what creature or person had been circling his camp. Another unsettling story comes from the channel Love Sundays, run by a solo camper named Sean. In September 2022, he uploaded footage of a night spent stealth camping in his van by a roadside in Cornwall, UK. Because camping there was technically illegal, Sean kept quiet and tried to stay under the radar. As darkness fell, he hunkered down, cooked dinner in silence, and tried to sleep. But around 2 a.m., a terrifying sound shattered the stillness.
I just heard something outside.
Okay, I think they've gone. They literally tried to get in the van. It wasn't just a knocking, they were trying their handle.
In normal circumstances, police or rangers would knock, identify themselves, and ask you to leave. This person tried to get inside without saying a word. Fortunately, whoever it was left after a few seconds, leaving Sean shaken but unharmed. He left the area the next morning. Even for experienced campers, the wilderness, and sometimes the people you find there, can become the stuff of nightmares.
Hello? Okay, they're walking away now. What do you want? What do you want? I have a knife. I think they went this way. I see you. Get away!
Sam, a YouTuber from Cleveland, runs a channel called The Northwest Wind. He specializes in stealth camping, parking his van in out-of-the-way places without paying for a site. In January 2024, Sam parked near a dog park and hiked into the woods. Not far in, he stumbled upon a torn-apart tent, an ominous sight. He ignored the warning and set up his own camp. Later that night, footsteps began circling his tent. Sam called out multiple times before finally hearing someone respond.
There's somebody. Hang on. I don't know if they can see it or not through the tent. I don't think so. I'm leaning right up against the light, but somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent. They're walking around outside in circles. Hello? Hello? Alright, I don't like this. Hello? Hello? They're touching my tent. Hello? Hello? Alright, I'm getting out of here. Hello? Hello? I don't know what this is, but we're getting out of here. Hang on. Hello? Okay, they're walking away now. What do you want? What do you want? I have a knife. Where's my knife? With me. With me here. Holy crap, get away, what do you want? Hello, I can't see you. Hello? All right, I'm getting out of here. We're getting out of here. They collapsed my tent on me. I don't know which way they went. I think they went this way. I see you. Get away! All right, I'm spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on and we're getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone! All right, they're moving again. I don't know, I'm getting out of here. We're going. I'll come back for this some other time. All right, out of here. I'm leaving, don't follow me! I don't know where to go. I don't know which way to get out of here. I smell your cigarette, I can hear you! I hear you!
In a frenzy, he grabbed what he could and ran back to his van. As he fled, he could hear the intruders chasing him through the woods.
This has got to lead back to the main trail. I don't know where they are. It's all foggy up here. I got water in my headlamp. I don't know where to go. I don't see or hear anybody anymore. I hear them coming. I can't see the shadow. Here's a path. Okay, get me there. I'm recording all of this. I'm calling up police. All right, I'm back on the path. Back on the path. Okay. Get away from me!
Back in the safety of his van, he recapped the terrifying night. While some commenters thought it was fake, his genuine fear and confusion seemed real. Thankfully, he wasn't harmed, and when he returned the next day, none of his gear had been stolen. So whoever was out there didn't want his stuff. They wanted something else. Since 2017, a content creator named Phil has been documenting his hiking adventures on YouTube through his channel, Hike Slam. His videos typically give viewers a detailed look into his solo hikes, covering how he packs, selects gear, sets up camp deep in remote wilderness, and survives alone in nature. But during Thanksgiving week in 2021, one particular hike turned out to be unlike anything he had previously experienced. On the night before Thanksgiving, Phil set out on a solo overnight trek along a stretch of the Appalachian Trail near his home in Virginia. For the first 30 minutes, everything felt routine, but soon things took a strange turn. Scattered along the trail, Phil came across trash, specifically plastic containers, with something odd written on them. What looked like handwritten song lyrics or poems. It was puzzling. Why would someone take the time to write all this out just to discard it in the woods? As he pushed further into the wilderness, the weirdness escalated. Near his intended campsite, Phil discovered another set of notes, these more disturbing than the last.
The weirdness continues. There's a dead duck here.
The notes varied, some cryptic, others rambling on about deep state conspiracies and shadowy government agents. A few read more like journal entries or fragments of a life story. Though no one can say for sure if the person behind the notes was also responsible for the dead duck, the proximity and condition of the notes made it hard to dismiss the connection. Nearby, Phil noticed a tarp and an active campfire only about 20 yards from the unsettling scene. He wisely chose to keep his distance and headed toward a nearby shelter. On his way, he crossed paths with two women and their dog, who asked if he had seen the man leaving bizarre messages and dead animals on the trail. When Phil mentioned the campsite, the women were visibly shaken and asked him to accompany them back to their car. He agreed and then continued on in another direction to find a safer place to spend the night. Eventually, he found a new shelter and set up camp without further incident. That night, he built a fire, ate dinner, and tried to put the earlier events behind him. But as darkness fell, curiosity led him to the camp logbook, something commonly found at shelters along the Appalachian Trail.
I'm gonna check out the shelter log here. I hang out by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where people write in their trail names and what's going on. They can write whatever they want in there. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. Little engine, back section. Hiking again finally. It's nice and little trail magic. Some comics and writing and stuff. Alright, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. Let me adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
The shelter he was now in was more than 2 miles from where he'd seen the earlier notes, yet the handwriting in the log was identical. The contents of the entry were no less disturbing.
2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail. What the heck? In solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15 through 9. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Kind of weird. Those women down there said they were going to call the police on the guy. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction, and there's just so much of it. Like this line up here. Think grave robbery in an attempt to obscure the reality of Little Mrs. Wolf. Content. Come up with some more of those wicked schemes, JB and company, so I can show some more of your true character.
He might have been living in those woods, or worse, watching from somewhere nearby. Later that night, Phil spotted another note, this one dangling from a bottle tied to the ceiling of the shelter. It read, "Watch out for Yeet Mouse. The dead do walk and talk." Understandably disturbed, Phil tried to get some sleep inside his tent. But just when things couldn't get any creepier, he heard movement outside. Peeking out, he spotted a lone figure with a headlamp circling the shelter. Not taking any chances, Phil packed up and made a quiet retreat back to his vehicle, checking over his shoulder the entire way. Thankfully, he made it back safely. As of 2024, Phil hasn't revisited that topic on his channel, and the identity of the person behind the writings remains a mystery. Grizzly Gaz is another outdoors YouTuber known for his UK-based hiking videos featuring his French bulldog, Fendi. In April 2023, he uploaded a video of a solo camping trip that began as usual, setting up camp, preparing a fire, and enjoying a peaceful moment with his dog. But while grilling steak for dinner, things got strange. A man in a coat and jeans unexpectedly walked into his campsite asking for a lighter and some food.
Right, we've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye, pot boiling for some mash, and I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light. Me pants. This is Martin anyway. I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so
just some random creep wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was.
While it was a seemingly calm encounter, things took a darker tone when Gaz turned away to chop wood, only to turn back and find Martin had vanished without a word. Concerned about the possibility of Martin returning with others, especially since Gaz had valuable camera gear with him, he packed up and left that night. To see if Martin came back, he'd left a trail camera behind. But the next morning, it was gone, adding another layer of unease to the encounter. The YouTube channel Creepy Outdoors focuses on nighttime forest explorations. In October 2022, the uploader ventured into an unnamed forest to document his hike. For the first several minutes, all you could hear was heavy breathing, building an eerie vibe. Then, about 13 minutes into the video, a voice calls out from the distance, "I see you." The voice was loud and distinct. While it could have been a fox or coyote, the words sounded human. The unsettling part? The voice came right after the uploader turned off his flashlight, suggesting whoever was out there may have been waiting for that exact moment.
Oh, hi. What? I need to get out of here. Oh, boy. Oh. Okay. That was creepy. I need to get out of here.
Fortunately, the uploader made it back unharmed and continues to post content. Love Sundays is a UK camping channel run by a solo camper named Sean. In February 2024, he uploaded a video where he camped in the woods after parking his van on a roadside. Around 3 a.m, he was startled by the sound of a car pulling up and people walking around his vehicle.
Well, I'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
The car's just pulled up, and it sounds like they're walking around the van.
As soon as he peeked out, the car sped off. The next morning, Sean discovered that someone had zip-tied his van doors shut from the outside.
Right, well I think we should at least go outside and see how miserable the weather is. My door's stuck. The actual see that? So here's there's obviously just people wanting to walk about and just be funny, I guess, but how dangerous is that, locking someone in their van? Let me check the back door. Well, there's nothing on this one because they wouldn't have been able to tie it to anything, would they? There's no way they could have done that door anyway.
Theories ranged from pranksters to thieves attempting to siphon fuel. Whatever the motive, it was a dangerous stunt. In January 2022, HowToHunt.com shared a video submitted by a group of teens camping in the woods. In the clip, they react in real time to something terrifying.
Hear it? Get Trevor. Austin, get the light. Hey! That was not an elk. Get my keys. Oh, Garrett. Everybody, get in my truck.
While some blamed it on wildlife, foxes and bobcats can sound human when they scream, many were convinced it was something else. Possibly even a person screaming to scare campers. Whether animal or human, no one wants to hear blood-curdling screams in the middle of nowhere. If these real-life stories gave you chills, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more true outdoor horror stories every week. Let us know in the comments which story creeped you out the most. And remember, the woods are beautiful, but you never really know who or what is out there.